We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Did that totally erase the first 4 minutes?
Always. Okay, Mr. Pratt's back in the room. Is the applicant? Yes, yes, ma'am. If you come forward to the podium, please, give us your name and address
My name is Cheryl Shell. My office address is 205 King Street.
to the public. And what we'll do is I'd ask for you to try to limit your comments to 3 minutes, please. And if, when you get up there, you think your comments are going to be the same as the previous speaker, just say that. I agree with him or her, and we'll move it along. We'll start on the right-hand side, and we'll go back and forth. Who wants to go first? On the right-hand side, anybody? Gosh, we've got a quiet crowd today. Let's go to the left side. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. Rick Price, 116 Phoebe Road, Somerville in the Ponds. I'm not here to speak specifically about the ponds issues. These have been thoroughly argued and explained to all members. I think your 831 workshop was helpful as an educational tool. And I believe after that meeting, the members had a thorough understanding of the amendments before them. What I am asking for from this commission is to place their words spoken at the 831 workshop into action. Myself and all Ponds residents are aware of your words, and now we expect action. This is a profound example of an out-of-state developer paying no attention to years and years of residents' complaints. And they're also, in my opinion, thumbing their nose at the county and legal contracts. There have been several county ordinances over the last few years which seek to remedy these types of problems. And I think a no vote from you folks strengthens those ordinances. Please support the residents of the ponds with a no vote. And I thank you.
Thank you, sir. Who else on the left-hand side would like to speak? Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. Brian Reisen, 152 Lots Drive in the Ponds. I just recently, with all these rapid changes coming about and updates, just had time to review them this afternoon. I have a few technical questions which may not have answers today, Mr. Mitchell. I've asked you in the past. With each subsequent change, I don't know if that resets that 30-day to respond clock. Like I said, I know I haven't had time to look at it. I have day jobs like many of you. I don't know if that requires additional time to fully review. One of the questions I still have outstanding is if, I know the Planning Commission and County Council are separate and the County Council still has to vote. If the county votes no on these amendments, I know they don't have to adhere to the Planning Commission's recommendation, but if they vote no, is that settlement agreement still in effect, and any future amendments, must they be based on that settlement agreement, or does that reset the settlement agreement by proxy? I'm not sure. Mr. Mitchell, I know you said you were going to look into that in the past. The residents of the ponds, a lot of people ask me, and I don't know, but if anybody has an answer, it would be great if you could share that. A technical question, this may be for Kira. The shifting of village center verbiage to commercial, I know PD has specific requirements for multifamily, et cetera. Does 1.8 acres of the total pond's gross acreage satisfy that commercial element of the PD zoning? Because I know multifamily was 0, but you said the Supreme Court, at the state Supreme Court level, had cases showing otherwise. So my question is about that. I haven't had time to look back at the South Carolina rules on that. I'm sure you're more familiar. But ultimately, one of my big outstanding questions about the settlement agreement and problems with it is January's 2021 letter of noncompliance after the annual inspection. That letter stands in stark contrast to the settlement agreement itself. So I want to remind everybody, I know I've said it a few times, I have the motion for reconsideration given the conflict of interest created by the Conservancy, which is Coulter, as we know, Jeff Vanderweel, being allowed to approve their own trail plans as part of that settlement agreement. That's a clear conflict of interest of one person holding 3 leadership roles on one side of this negotiation. So to me, it seems like there's a chain link effect here of these amendments are based on the settlement agreement, which has technical faults and conflicts of interest. So by proxy, these amendments would carry those same conflicts of interest.
All your questions, when I'm going to defer to council and to planning, we're just accepting inputs here, right?
Yeah, and this is me just letting some of the input. I haven't had time, like I said, barely to read or email you all ahead of this. And again, these are all very recent updates that are coming literally days before these meetings. So that 30-day question is really so we as residents can have time to digest this, and I'm still waiting for a scheduled hearing date on that motion in circuit court. So, and I'm working on some other potential legal actions, but haven't had time with my day job. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Who's next? Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Gage, Phoebe Road, Ponds, Somerville. I simply want to say thank you to all of you, as I have done individually, for all of your effort that you continue to put in to this issue. Obviously, this issue is very important to the residents of the ponds. You see, there's a lot of folks here in the middle of the afternoon expressing their support for this body. And I just want to offer our thanks, my thanks, and thanks for those that aren't speaking, that you take this time diligently and thoughtfully. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Didn't realize that there were some modifications sent in, so I could be speaking on stuff that I guess I'm unaware of, but my name's Emily Kwan. I'm at 135 Musket Loop. And my coming here today is because I want to make a plea to both county and Coulter to really put an end to this. It's been going on for over 2 years now. And there were some things that were previously negotiated with county and Coulter after the MSA agreement was signed. One of those things is our trails were now private to us. They have always been open to the public. It's something we've never had. That was something that we got out of those negotiations, and then all of a sudden, now the negotiations were off the table. So, there's things that happen that were very good. I truly believe the residents of Dorchester County are good, but we've already had some bad apples that really have put the residents at risk. We've had 4x4s driving the trails. I mean, so if you can imagine, you're walking the trails, your kids are riding their bikes, and you come across, along a blind curve, and here's this big 4x4 truck barreling through the trails. It's not good. Someone's going to get hurt. We have not allowed our kids on the trails since all this stuff has happened. We've had cars sitting in our amphitheater, the brick area in front of the pond at Village Ponds there. Again, I want an end to all this drama. I really would like county and Coulter to work together, bring back some of these negotiations, bring back the private trails and amenities, get rid of the soccer fields again, which that may already be gone. And something, that is so obvious to me is to make sure that Coulter has, there's an agreement that there's a buffer in front of homes at Village Ponds, because we all want that area to remain looking like it does today. So make Coulter agree to or come to an agreement where there's some kind of tree buffer, a buffer with the townhomes. That makes complete sense. By our covenants, the townhomes are a separate section, and in order to enforce our covenants, they have to be treated as such. So they have to come in as a separate section. They should be designated as such. And the only way that those can be enforced is if that is done in the very beginning. And that's how the board of directors in the future is going to govern that area, because it doesn't fall quite underneath everything else. I don't know the 50 homes that were given to Coulter, the extra 50 doors, to me, if that's on the table, I think it's a non-issue. And the reason why I think that is because before all this stuff happened, Coulter wasn't going to get to 1,950 doors. They had lost things to trees, to archaeology. So I don't think by giving them 2,000, they're going to get there anyway. I urge you guys to follow your own zoning or our zoning for our PD, and make sure the street lists in the final phase are correct. Because I don't think that those have quite been right here for a little bit. And finally, I just ask that throughout this whole process that our zoning is followed, and DRB approval from our DRB committee is given or provided or required, as it is to be required, before issuing any building permits for the neighborhood. Because even though this zoning is crazy and unique, it's still, county has to follow it. So thank you for your time.
Last call for anyone else. Okay. I made my statement at the workshop the other day, and I'm not going to repeat it this evening. Anything from the commissioners before I ask for a motion? I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Planning Commission recommend disapproval of the proposed ponds PD amendments to include the ones that we received last night to County Council.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, now, is there any further discussion?
Mr. Carter, before we vote, I would like to say something caught my eye, this last lady that spoke, and, it's really a shame. Many of y'all know I'm a Realtor, and this is hurting everybody. The developer's getting hurt, the residents are getting hurt. It just doesn't make it, I don't understand it. This doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because nobody's gonna come out of winter. The county, the developer, nor the residents. So somebody needs to get in a room and work this out. That's the way I see it. Thank you.
Anybody else? I'm going to ask for an armed vote instead of a voice vote. All in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. The ayes have it. Anything further? One more motion's in order.
Move to adjourn.
We have an adjourn. Do you have a second? We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting's adjourned.